Good morning, dear students. I welcome you all to the live class from Virtual Studio, Sundargarh. I am Arphil Chhuria from Sri Gandhi Bal Government High School, Modern India, which is in Raulkela. I am present in front of you through this virtual platform to discuss the first chapter of your class 9 English book from non-detailed text, that is The Trunk of Ganesha. It's a short story written by Jayanta Mahapatra. So without wasting much time, let us move to the smart board to proceed further and to discuss the story. So dear students, before starting the story, let me first introduce the story writer to you. As you can see in the picture, there is Mr. Jayanta Mahapatra, who was born on 1928 in Cuttack. You must be very proud to know that he belongs to Odisha. He is from Odisha, and he has made many creations both in English and Odia languages. Although he was a physics lecturer, he has won many international acclaims and recognition. There is the first, he was the author of the popular poems such as The Indian Summer and The Hunger. He is the first Indian poet to win the Sahitya Academy Award for his English poetry book Relationship. He was, in this picture you can see the Sahitya Academy Award, and besides this he was also awarded Padma Shri Award in 2009. There is Mr. Mahapatra receiving the Padma Shri Award, and this is the then Honorable President of India, Pratibha Patil. So next, having known about the story writer, who was also a very famous poet, let us first discuss the lead-in that has been the background of the story and that has been the theme of the story. So dear students, you must have been following the superstitious practices in your daily life. You all know what is superstition. It is the old belief which has been followed by people without having the actual reason or without finding the actual cause of the matter. In this picture you can see the picture of a black cat crossing the road from the left side, and the other picture is the falling of a glass of milk. These are the two examples which are considered to be inauspicious by people. Can you give such more examples? Dear students, can you give such more examples which are considered to be superstitious? You can see the picture. Here is the bunch of chilies and lemons tied in a thread. You must have seen that this thing have been used to avoid the ill intention. What are the other things that are considered inauspicious? You can see here the number 13, which is considered inauspicious. Walking under a ladder, which is also called inauspicious. You must have seen this thing, the Nazar Battu, which is used to eliminate the ill intention and finding this is considered as to be auspicious. Again, do you believe in supernatural powers which are not naturally occurring?
No.
Yes, it may differ from person to person, those who believe supernatural power, those who may not believe supernatural power. So, can this supernatural power be scientifically proven? Is there any scientific explanation or cause to this problem? No. Yes. So,
No.
okay, fine. Now, do you know what part of the body is called a trunk? Have you seen elephants? Elephants
Yes.
have trunks.
Yes.
You can see here the trunk of an elephant. This is the tusk and this is the trunk. Again, you must have seen the idol of Lord Ganesh, which having a trunk in his head. Yes or no, dear students? You must have seen
Yes.
the idols and the images of different gods and goddesses prepared by idol makers. During Ganesh Puja or Saraswati Puja, you must have visited idol makers to buy some idols. You must have seen them preparing the images. Yes or no? So today we
Yes.
will discuss about such an idol maker who is superstitious in his belief. He was so superstitious that he was blindly thinking different causes for the breaking of tongue. This is the background of the story. It says that there was the idol maker named Govinda Maharana. This idol maker was preparing a Ganesh idol, and the trunk of the idol was breaking repeatedly. And this superstitious Govinda Maharana was so superstitious in his belief, that he blindly thinking, or he was supposing in his mind that the different regions for which the trunk was breaking. However, he manages to find the real cause that we shall discuss in the later part of the story. Today we shall cover the first part of the story. In this story, in the first part, we will see the appearance of two characters. One is Govinda Maharana, the idol maker himself, and second is Sulochana, his wife. And this was in the situation is in Govinda's house in the courtyard, and the story revolves around the conversation between Govinda and Sulochana. And the problem of the story in this first part is that the trunk of the idol breaks every night. The mood of the idol maker is very tense, the idol maker is very worried, and the idol maker is very anxious. He is full of anxiety. So let us discuss what is happening to Govinda and Sulochana. Let us now read the first part of the story. The first part of the text. What is say? It was just one of all those days when nothing seemed to go right for Govinda Maharana. Once again, there was this unhappy incident which kept bothering him. So, what does it say? It was one of those days when nothing seemed to go right, when nothing seemed to fall in right place for Govinda Maharana. There was certain thing. There was an unhappy incident which was disturbing him, which was bothering him. So, what was that unhappy incident? The unhappy incident was the continuous breaking of the trunk. At the sunrise, the next paragraph say, at the sunrise, he finished his bath and in the courtyard and took a glass of tea from his wife's hand. His fingers suddenly slackened and the glass slipped from his hand. It was the first conscious knowledge of the fear he carried. The superstitions haunted him throughout his life. Let me first read the next slide, then we shall discuss the what the meaning of the text actually. This day there was a special reason for his gloomy, tense manner, for it was the third day in succession that such a thing had happened. Govinda had learned the trait from his father, as had his father from his father's father. The substance of the art of idol making, the Durgas, the Ganeshas and the Shivas. Perhaps I have no right, he told his wife, to meddle with the private lives of gods, that is why they are angry. So this is the first reason he is thinking that why the trunk of the idol was breaking. These are the some difficult words in the two slides that we have studied here. Bothering means disturbing, something was bothering him, means this thing was disturbing him. Then the courtyard means an unroofed area of house. You say in every house there is some unroofed area, an open space, that is called courtyard. Then slacken means loosen, and conscious means to become alert or to become awake or to become aware simply. And superstition means an widely held but irrational belief, that means old belief which are unscientifically proven or which cannot be proved scientifically, but people are following that belief. That is called superstition. Then haunted means to be always in mind or to appear in place regularly. We have read in the text that there was a line that the superstition haunted him throughout his life. That means the superstitions was there in his mind throughout his life. Then gloomy means sad and without much hope. That means sad and hopeless. The word gloomy means sad and hopeless. Succession means a series or a number of things happening over in time. That and at the last the meddle means to interfere or to simply disturb or to interfere. So these two slides, this says that this was I have said you earlier. So what this paragraph says, that at sunrise he finished his bath in the courtyard. He finished his bath in the courtyard and took a glass of tea from his wife's hand. So after finishing his bath, he took the glass of tea from his wife's hand. But the glass of tea fell down, and because his fingers suddenly slackened. That means his fingers suddenly loosened and the glass of water fell down. It was the first conscious knowledge of the fear he carried. The superstitious fear that he was carrying throughout his life, which haunted him throughout his life. So when the glass of tea fell down from his hand due to the slackening or the loosening of the fingers, then he was very much worried, he was very tense. Then the next slide. This day there was a special reason for his gloomy, tense manner. It was very sad day for him. He was very hopeless that day because it was the third day in succession that such a thing had happened. Continuously, it is the third time that the breaking of trunk has happened and this unhappy incident has happened. Govinda had learned the trait. The next paragraph says, Govinda had learned the trait from his father, as had his father from his father's father. But the art of idol making, how to prepare an idol, the art of idol making, how to prepare an idol has been learned by Govinda from his father. And his father had learned the same thing from his grandfather. That means he had learned the family business, the business or the trait of the family from his father, and the idol making was not new to them, it was their family business. What are the idols they have been making? The Durgas, the Ganeshas and the Shivas. He was making the idols of this image, these lords. Then perhaps What is Govinda first thinking? Perhaps I have no right, he told his wife, to meddle with the private lives of gods. That is why they are angry. So since Govinda Maharana is making the idol, he is thinking that he is perhaps meddling or he is perhaps interfering in the lives of gods. That is why the gods are unhappy with him, and that is why perhaps they are making such things that the trunk of Ganesha is breaking again and again. Furthermore, what is he thinking? That perhaps I have been of late using my powers too carelessly, and the icons I have been working are not exactly those my father would have made in his time. Sulochana looked at her husband with frightened eyes. Perhaps he was right, she thought, but maybe he was growing older, and his hands and eyesight were not as strong as before. The second paragraph says, "You must be tired working without a break," she said, her words betraying her simplicity. "You know what day it is?" He studied her for a moment and continued, "And I am already late on the large Ganesha." What had gone wrong? He could not understand. Making an image was child's play for him. Only in this case, the idol was somewhat larger than the most, the trunk a little heavier, a trifle longer, that was all. Perhaps the clay he had been using was that measure sort of its adhesive quality which makes for a smooth tight binding. So this was the text, and now let us find the difficult words from these two slides. Of late, there was a word of late which is a prepositional phrase. The of late means in the recent past or the recently. Icons means images or the idol. Frightened means afraid or suffering from fear. Betraying means to cheat or to hide something and show something else, or not being loyal, or to show the quality that you should have thought of keeping it hidden. Then the word trifle means slightly, or which is having some little importance or little value, that we'll call as trifle. And adhesive means sticky, or the quality of getting attached or clingy. So now let us try to understand these what the things that Govinda Maharana is thinking in his mind. Before this, we have learned that Govinda was thinking that perhaps he was meddling with the private life of gods. He was thinking that perhaps he was disturbing gods, and that is why gods were angry. Now let us further move. What are the other reasons he has been thinking? Perhaps I have been of late using my powers too carelessly, and the icons have been making are not exactly those my father would have made in his time. Now Govinda is thinking that perhaps he is using his power too carelessly. He has become careless, and he is not preparing the idol properly. He is thinking that perhaps the idol would have been made something different if it were prepared by his father. If his father was there, he would have prepared the idol in a different way, and he is and Govinda is using his powers too carelessly, or he is being careless in his approach to make the idol. This is the second thing that he is thinking in his mind. Next, his wife Sulochana was present near him. He looked at her husband with frightened eyes. He looked towards Govinda with frightened eyes, and he was thinking that perhaps he was right, she thought. And his wife Sulochana is thinking that perhaps he is right, that Govinda is using his powers carelessly, but maybe he was growing older, and his hands and eyesight were not as strong as before. Again, Sulochana is thinking perhaps he is using his powers too carelessly, but something might be happening that since Govinda is old now, his eyesight has become poor. His eyesight were not strong as before. The power of his eyes were not that much as it was before. And as he was growing older, he had lost the energy in his body. He had lost the power in his hand, and that might be a reason that the trunk of the Ganesha is breaking. Not necessarily that the Govinda is using his power too carelessly, but because since Govinda is getting older, he might be having those weaknesses in his body. Then the next part, Sulochana is saying, this is the line part which describes what Sulochana is saying. Sulochana is then saying to Govinda that you must be tired working without a break. You must be tired without working a break. She said, her words betraying her simplicity. In this line, we can identify that Sulochana was simple, Sulochana was very innocent, but here he is betraying her simplicity. That means he is speaking it out. He is speaking the inner voice. He is speaking what she actually thought in his mind, and he says that you must be tired working without a break. Since you are working without a break, this thing is being spoken to Govinda Maharana by Sulochana, by his wife Sulochana. So Sulochana is saying that you must be tired without working without a break. Since you are working from since a long time, you must be tired, and that is why the trunk of Ganesha is not being placed properly. So now let us see what else the case is. You know what day it is? Then again Govinda is saying, you know what day it is? He studied her for a moment and continued. And I am already late on the large Ganesha. The idol maker Govinda is saying that it is not a good day for him, and he is already late on preparing the idol. He is already running behind the time to make the idol. What had gone wrong? Then again the Govinda is the idol maker Govinda Maharana is thinking, what had gone wrong? He could not understand. He could not understand what had gone wrong. Making an image was child's play for him. So here, dear students, here the child's play for him means it was a very easy task. The art of idol making, the skill of making an idol was a very easy task for him. But Govinda could not think what was the problem that the trunk is not being prepared completely, and he could not understand what has gone wrong to him. Only in this case, the idol, he is again saying that only in this case, the idol was somewhat larger than most. So here he is admitting that, he is saying that this time the idol was quite larger and the trunk a little heavier, and the trunk of the idol is quite heavier this time. It is having some much weight this time, and a trifle longer. That means a slightly longer, a little longer. The trunk is little longer and it is little heavier. So Govinda is thinking that this might be a reason that the trunk is breaking. Then that was all. So he is saying that the art of idol making is a very easy task for him. But since in this idol the image is the trunk is quite heavier and it is quite longer, so that should not be a much problem because the idol making is very easy for him. Then the next paragraph, he is thinking that about the clay mold that he used to prepare the idol. He is thinking that perhaps the clay he had been using was just measure short of its adhesive quality. That means its stickiness, the stickiness of the clay that he has been using, the mold, the clay mold that he prepared to make the idol is losing some adhesive quality, or is lacking the adhesive quality, that the stickiness is lacking in the clay mold, which makes for a smooth tight binding. So this is the another reason that he is giving. Govinda Maharana is thinking that the adhesive quality, the diminishing of the adhesive quality of the clay mold might be another reason. Then let us further proceed. What are the next reasons and what conversations is happening between Sulochana and Govinda. Next, but again Govinda is saying, but it was the same clay he had been using for years. For innumerable images he had perfected and sold. Then we first read the complete text, then we shall try to comprehend it. Then while the sudden tear at the point where the elephant trunk took a turn and swung gently downward, was the weight too heavy for the clay mold of the image's face to support it? Sulochana did not want to question him about his work, for she knew that he was one of the best image makers in the whole valley. Govinda Maharana's image, it's hard to find better work than this. She had heard the townsfolk often say. He was one of the few excellent craftsmen left, and she nursed her pride in secret. And yet some inner voice hammered at her. Was it because he had asked for a better price, a rather exorbitant want? Then what was considered reasonable for an image of that size? She was convinced that her husband was a righteous man, but was not it possible that his seeming greed, provided her surmise was correct, had angered the unknown? So in this two slides we will try to discuss the difficult words first. There were words which are listed here, which were difficult to you. The first is innumerable. Innumerable means uncountable or too many. Then second one is perfected. Perfected means to make something perfect, to make it perfect, to make it perfect. And swung, which is the past tense of swing, that means to move in a curve or to be curvy. Gently, that means softly or lightly or quietly or calmly. Gently means softly mainly. Hammer means to strike several times or to strike it, or the word hammer will be to strike several times, and hammer means to stroke several times. Exorbitant, that means much bigger and more expensive. That means having a large amount, that will be exorbitant, which is more expensive. Righteous, righteous means justified morally or virtuous or free from sin or guilty. One who is free from guilt, free from sin, free from wrongdoings. One who is always correct, one who is morally good in nature is called a righteous man. So the righteous means the being of the quality of being morally good. And greed, greed means a desire for more food or money or power, etc. As you can say, greed means the having of desire of gaining more and more. Seeming, that means appearing to be something which is looping or which is appearing. Surmise, surmise means to guess or to suppose that something is true. So try to comprehend the conversation between the Sulochana and Govinda here. But the Govinda is saying, but it was the same clay he had been using for years. For innumerable images he had perfected and sold. Govinda, we have studied that, we have already learned that Govinda was thinking that perhaps the stickiness or the adhesive quality of the clay mold is lacking, and that might be a reason that the trunk of the Ganesha is not being fixed properly. But he is again saying that, but it was the same clay he had been using for years. For innumerable images, for many images. He has used the same clay for many years, and he had perfected the images and he had sold them. But he could not understand what was happening in this case, in this time. Then, where the sudden tear at the point where the elephant trunk took a turn and swung gently downward, then he is saying that this is the same clay he has been using for years. This is the same clay he has used for different idols. He has already perfected different idols using the same clay. But what was the problem this time? That where the trunk is little curved, it is little curvy, or where the trunk has been swung little softly or gently, then it is getting tears and it is breaking down. Then was the weight too heavy for the clay mold of the image's face to support it? He is thinking that why the weight too heavy for the clay mold of the images to support it? We have discussed earlier that he was telling that the trunk was little heavier. It is having some much weight this time. So he is again thinking that why the weight too heavy for the clay mold of the image's face to support it? Was the clay mold having too weight? Then this is thinking, this is the thought of the Govinda. Then again, what is Sulochana saying? Sulochana did not want to question him about his work. Sulochana did not want to question him about his work, because Sulochana is having no doubt in his mind that Govinda is the best idol maker in the area. Govinda is an excellent idol maker, and Sulochana is having belief in his skills, in the skills of Govinda. So Sulochana did not want to question him about his work, for she knew that he was one of the best image makers in the whole valley. Because Sulochana is confident and he is saying that since he is the best idol maker in the whole valley, so there is no doubt about the skills of the art making of Govinda. Govinda Maharana's image, it's hard to find better work than this. Dear students, you can see this line had been put under quotation, that Govinda Maharana's image, it's hard to find better work than this. This is the quotation, this is the statement of the townsfolk. This is the quotation, or this is the saying of the people of the town that Sulochana had heard. That what is it? That there is no better work than Govinda's. Next, he was one of the few excellent craftsmen left. Sulochana knew that Govinda is one of the few excellent craftsmen left. That means he is one of the best craftsmen in the area. And she nursed her pride in secret. And Sulochana is feeling proud of the thing that Govinda is the best idol makers, is one of the best idol makers of the area. And yet, but dear students, an inner force has hammered Sulochana's mind. There is something going on in Sulochana's mind. That is, some inner force hammered at her. Was it because he had asked for a rather exorbitant one than what was considered reasonable for an image of that size? Since the size of the image is concerned, the price of the idol should be reasonable to it. It should be suitable to it. The price of the idol should be suitable to the image, to the size of the image. So Sulochana is thinking here that since Govinda is demanding a large amount, an exorbitant one, an expensive amount for the idol. This is the thinking of the Sulochana, that perhaps Govinda is demanding some bigger amount, some exorbitant amount for the idol. She was convinced that her husband was a righteous man, but was not it possible that his seeming greed had angered the unknown? Sulochana knew that Govinda was a righteous man. That means Govinda is morally correct. He is good in his conduct. But since the reason is unknown, Sulochana might be thinking that perhaps Govinda is demanding a high price for the idol, and that is why the idol and that is the reason where the it has the greed of the Govinda, the greed of the idol maker Govinda is has angered the unknown. So perhaps here the word unknown means the gods or the supernatural powers or the Almighty, who is angry with Govinda. So this was the thinking of the Sulochana, that he is saying that perhaps he was demanding a high price for the image idol. So dear students, in the latter part of the story we shall find out in what direction the story proceeds. So the first part, this was the first part, and in the first part we have seen the conversation between Govinda and Sulochana, the different reasons that was being in place in the minds of Govinda and Sulochana for the continuous breaking of the tongue. Like the Govinda is sometimes thinking that he is meddling with the private life of the people, private life of God. Again, he is thinking that perhaps he is using his powers too carelessly. He is thinking that perhaps the adhesive quality of the clay mold is lost, and perhaps the clay is lacking adhesive quality. So these are the different reasons that stroke the mind of Govinda. And Sulochana at the last is thinking that although he has confidence in his husband's conduct, that her husband is a righteous man, he is morally good in his conduct, but still he was having doubt in his mind that perhaps Govinda is demanding an expensive amount for the idol, so far as the size of the idol is concerned. So Sulochana did not think that the price was reasonable, and that's the reason that is pointed out by Sulochana to which has angered the unknown, or which has due to which the gods are angry. So having comprehended the first part of the story, dear students, let us now check our progress and let's see how far you have understood the story so far. The first questions, we shall proceed to the first question. The first question says, who was Govinda Maharana? There are four multiple choice. All the questions are multiple choices, and these are having four options. You have to choose the correct one. So the first question say, who was Govinda Maharana? Option A, farmer. Option B, shopkeeper. Option C, carpenter. Or option D, idol maker. Dear students, please respond. Please respond the first question. Who was Govinda Maharana? He was a farmer, or he was a shopkeeper, or he was a carpenter, or idol maker? Yes, anyone please? Tent housing colony? Please raise your hands, students. Yes,
D,
please.
idol maker.
Yes, very good. So Govinda was an idol maker. Very good. Then second question. Who is the writer of the story, The Trunk of Ganesha? The Trunk of Ganesha is the title of this story that we have read recently. So who is the writer? Four options. Option 1 says Mulk Raj Anant. Option 2 says Jayanta Mahapatra. Option C says Kushwant Singh. And option D says Abhi Sumedi. So who is the writer of the story? Konakpur High School. Yes, Konakpur High School, please respond. Who is the writer of the story? Yes, say. You try it. You try the question by yourself. Please do not take the help of others. Jadumani High School.
Jayanta Mahapatra.
Very good. Please respond quickly. The answer is Jayanta Mahapatra. Jayanta Mahapatra is the writer of the story. We have learned that he was a famous poet, but he also has many creations in writing short story. Then third question, what haunted Govinda Maharana throughout his life? What thing haunted Govinda Maharana throughout his life? There are four options: superstitions, the art of idol making, or spirituality, or unhappy incidents. Haunted means which was in mind. Sorry? Please speak again.
Superstition.
Superstition, very good. The answer is superstition. So superstition haunted Govinda Maharana throughout his life. Then fourth question: for whom had Govinda Maharana learned the trade? From whom had Govinda Maharana learned the trade of idol making? Who has taught Govinda Maharana the art of idol making? Yes, please respond. Turn on your mic and please respond. Who has taught the art to Govinda?
His father's father.
No. His father's father has taught the art to his father. That means Govinda's grandfather has taught the art to Govinda's father. But Govinda has learned the same thing from his father. So the good attempt, but the correct answer is his father has taught the art to Govinda. So Govinda has learned the trade from his father, and his father had learned the trade from his father's father. That means his father has learned the trade from his grandfather. Then fifth question: who was Solochana? This one is a very easy question.
Govind wife.
Yes, very good. It is
Govind wife.
Yes, very good. Then next question: which image did Govinda Maharana make? What are the images Govinda Maharana make?
All of
Durga.
All of them.
Yes, all of these. Yes, very good. Next question.
All of them.
There is a quotation.
Govind Maharana.
There is a statement. Govinda Maharana's image. It's hard to find better work than this. Who often say this? There is a statement given inside the quotation. Who has said this? The quotation says Govinda Maharana's images. It's hard to find better work than this. Who often say this? Who said this? Options are villagers or the townsfolk or Govinda's friends or none of the above. Who says this statement? Who says this? Villagers or townsfolk or Govinda's friends? Who says that Govinda's Maharana image is very excellent and it's hard to find better work than this? Who says that Govinda Maharana's image is hard to find better work than this? Yes, try to attempt the questions, dear students. I hope you are listening. Try to respond the question. We shall correct it later if you could not get the right answer. Yes, okay. It is Stanford, and the next person who said yes. The next one who said that you must be tired working, that is Sulochana. I have two questions as homework. Please write it down and you show me in the next class while we discuss the next part of the story. That is, first question is what was bothering Govinda Maharana since the 3 days, and second question is what reasons did Govinda Maharana give for the breaking of the tongue? Again, first question was what was bothering Govinda Maharana since the last 3 days, and second question is what reasons did Govinda Maharana give for the breaking of the tongue? Thank you. We shall meet again.